Hi guys, this is the Renault Koleos, which I've reviewed in an earlier video. All right, the previous car that I reviewed, that was an all-wheel drive model. This is the front-wheel drive version. All right, and as I mentioned before in my previous video, equipment-wise, at least in terms of functional stuff lah, the two-wheel drive model is almost exactly the same as the front wheel drive. The only difference is, of course, right, the drivetrain, and also the fact that the all-wheel drive model had a powered tailgate. This one is just a manual tailgate. Okay, so this one you just lift the tailgate manually and that's it. But to me, I think that is a power tailgate. It's nice to have, all right. I'm sure you will appreciate this at this price range, but not entirely essential. Okay, so now, right, so the all-wheel drive model was priced at 200,000 ringgit and currently has been discontinued. This front-wheel drive model with almost the same level of equipment, 174,000 ringgit on the road, so which I think is a fabulous deal. Now, of course, you can also choose to upgrade to what they now have, a Koleos two-wheel drive signature model. That one adds powered tailgate. It adds a panoramic sunroof. It also adds Android Auto and Apple CarPlay to the infotainment system, and the leather seats are of chestnut. They have what they call this chestnut brown leather as opposed to this black combo. Okay, so the signature model is 14,000 ringgit on top of this base two-wheel drive model. I would just go with this one, and instead, right, Renault also offers you the option of paying upfront for service packages. So you can either opt for a 3-year service package or a 5-year service package. The 5-year package is worth 7,000 ringgit. So honestly, I'll just go for this base model, take the 5-year service package, bundle all that into the loan. So well, it is also, I mean, what that does is, it's not a free service package, right? But what it does is that you get the 5 years of maintenance paid up front at a discounted price, and it's bundled into your loan. So in cash flow terms, what this means is that you just paying like an extra few ringgit a month every month, all right, during the tenure of your loan. And every time when you go send your car in for service, you don't have to pay anything. And servicing for these cars, right, it will easily range between 500 to 1,000 ringgit every month. So you don't have that worry of having to shell out 500 or 1,000 ringgit during each of that visit. You paid for it upfront. Every time you go service, you just go there, sign the form, drive your car off. That's it. The only thing that you need to pay for, presumably, will be when you change your tires or whatever that is not covered in the service schedule. All right, so on to the Koleos. Just go flashback a bit. The Koleos, mechanically, it is based on the Nissan X-Trail, and for us, we only get the 2.5 liter engine. All right, just a comparison. So now the Koleos is 2.5 liter front wheel drive. In the X-Trail, this 2.5 engine is only available with all-wheel drive. The X-Trail also gives you the option of a two-wheel drive with a 2-liter engine, or you have the hybrid model, which will be launched later, I think, in April, in conjunction with the facelift. All right, so mechanically, it's the same as the X-Trail, which means that for maintenance of this car, right, all right, if you were to keep this car beyond 5 years, you will not have a shortage of parts, because all the mechanical running gear underneath are common with the X-Trail. So that's something you don't have to worry about, all right. But a key difference between this and the X-Trail, Renault does not offer you a 7-seater Koleos. All right, this is a global thing, standard across the world. Renault does not give you a 7-seater Koleos. You only get a 5-seater. Yeah. So positioning wise, right, you look at the styling of this car. Well, the price tag of this car shows that this is a more expensive product than the X-Trail, despite sharing the same underpinnings. But I would say that the styling of this car, the looks of this car, the stature, the presence of this car, it does command a premium. Looking at this, right, it does command that premium over the X-Trail. I mean, look at this front end. I would say this looks convincingly more expensive than the X-Trail, right? Look at the headlights, right? You get standard LED headlights, right? And this, well, this is a debatable touch, but you have to say it's bold. And yeah, I mean, if you are a car with premium aspirations, you need this kind of daring design touches and lines. All right, and so you come here to the side. So this side profile, okay, in particular the window line. The window line does remind you of the X-Trail. The proportions also reminds us of the X-Trail. And then you come to the end. I like this rear end, very nice, very sleek. Okay, and you get a reverse camera, no 360-degree camera for the Koleos, which I think is regrettable. I think, yeah, I mean, if the X-Trail can provide 360 cam, I think the Koleos should be able to do so also, right? So here you have it. This is the 5-seater configuration, and you see there is more, because there is no need to package a third row of seats, right? You get more boot space. Well, underneath here is a spare tire. Wow, full-size spare tire some more, right? Full-size spare tire. And yeah, so still boot space is good. You get additional compartments here. Okay, it's a 12-volt socket, and so this remote release latch to topple down the seats. Nice touch. So yeah, pull this and the seat goes down. All right, so there's a bit of a step there, but it's good that they put this little thing, this ramp here, to create a seamless floor with the folded seats in front. Okay, so we just come here. All right, yeah. So it doesn't go perfectly flat, but I appreciate that they have this ramp here, so it, you know, things don't slip underneath. All right, and we close this. So you have 2 USB ports and a 12-volt socket here. Aircon vents at the back. Well, good leg room. You got blind spot warning here. Okay, blind spot warning. You also get 6 airbags as standard in the Koleos. Just show you the instrument cluster together with the R-Link infotainment system. All right, as I mentioned earlier, you do get Apple CarPlay with the higher spec model. All right, but I think, I don't know, to me, that is not something that I've ever bothered with. Then I see very bright ambient lighting here. Well, good usage of space. I like this. Okay, and here you have it, another deep console. So pretty good utilization of space. All right, I've explored this in my previous video, this as well. So nothing new here. So one thing, right? So since my previous video, I've also driven the Captur. All right, and one of my observations in the Captur was that the exterior of the Captur, right, the bright, bright funky exterior, it doesn't match up to the monotonous interior of the car. But here in the Koleos, all right, the Koleos, well, the color scheme is also pretty monotonous, right? Just gray and dark gray, but they have this piano black and brush metal finish here. But here, a more somber color scheme like this works because the Koleos is a more matured vehicle. It's a more matured product aimed at a more mature audience. So it is perfectly okay to use a more low-key color scheme, a more matured kind of design. Yeah, and I think overall this cabin, the ergonomics are typically French, bizarre, but I would say that, it is functional, right? I still don't understand why Renault has this habit of putting the auto cruise activation switch here in the center console, but that's that. And then you activate, resume or set the speed on steering here. Okay, audio control is through the stock. You can activate voice command here. Yeah, and this OK button, this is to control your multi-info display. All right. Yes. So here we have sunglass holder. Yep. So overall, this cabin built, solid build. Okay, very nicely finished. Feel the overall look and feel of this car inside and out. It feels convincingly premium, and more importantly, it feels one step up from the Nissan X-Trail that is based upon, and that helps it justify, you know, the extra price that this car commands over the X-Trail. Now, as you would have probably watched in one of my recent videos, I've just driven, well, had a quick drive in the X-Trail Hybrid. Alright, so it was only a short drive, so whatever impressions I have were very fleeting. Now, here, now coming to the Koleos and drawing back on my experience previously, I would have to say that now the Koleos, it seems to feel a little bit plusher on the move, a bit more refined compared to the X-Trail. Alright, of course, this being a non-hybrid, right, it does not have that unnatural feeling brake response that the X-Trail Hybrid quite surprisingly had. Alright, the handling, well, it's competent. Okay, the tires seem to lack a little grip when pushed hard, but you also feel that the chassis, okay, is doing its utmost best to balance everything. So even though there was one turn I made earlier that the tires were just on the edge of losing grip, you also feel at the same time that the chassis has that balance, you know, just to keep the car going, and you know, just to hold everything together and wait, you know, just as for the tires to find traction and you can power your way out. All right, so maybe if you were to buy this car a year or two down the road, you may want to consider investing on better tires. But certainly the chassis has been good. All right, the ride comfort also is, it feels well sorted. I drove this over a series of less than pleasant roads, and yeah, I mean, it soaked up all the imperfections, you know, all the manhole covers, the patches of road. Right, it glided over them like they were not there. The engine is, this being a 2.5 liter engine, so there is good initial take-up acceleration upon takeoff. All right, that if you were to step on it, it doesn't hesitate upon takeoff. All right, and also mid-range torque of the engine is decently strong. It gives you a usable amount of passing acceleration if you so need it. All right, it is only when you rev it past 4,000 or 5,000 RPM that the engine shows a bit of roughness, but overall this is very good for day-to-day usage. All right, yeah, and so the driving experience, certainly if I were to sum up overall, somehow, yeah, it does feel a little more refined than the X-Trail that I drove previously, right? And so that, plus how, you know, how this car comes with a much better look, more upmarket looking exterior, I would say, a nicer finished cabin, good build quality overall, right? It convincingly presents itself as a more premium alternative to the X-Trail, despite sharing the same mechanical hardware. In fact, right, I would consider the Koleos as, it is a left field choice, but I think what this car does very well is that it is able to convincingly carry the mantle of a semi-premium car, right, using mostly mainstream underpinnings. So, you know, as much as we know it is a Nissan X-Trail underneath, looking at this car, driving it, feeling all the things, right, it looks, if you were to tell someone, right, your relatives or what, you bought this car for 200,000 ringgit, I don't think anybody will bat an eyelid, because this is a car that looks like it commands that kind of price tag. All right, yeah. So I would say this is overall the Koleos. It's a very pleasant product, and yeah, at 170,000 ringgit, it's not bad. It's not bad. Yeah, definitely worth considering if you are looking for something at that price point.